Hey, it's Luke from LT Gaming, and today we have so much Star Wars gaming to discuss in this video. First of all, our Star Wars Zero Company coverage is coming on the 11th of August, and I've now played around 30 hours of the game. So I have a lot of real things to say about this one, including elements I absolutely love, areas that surprised me, and a few discussions that Star Wars and strategy fans will definitely want to hear about, so stay tuned for that one. But today we're returning to the ultimate king of Star Wars, the Interworlds mod for X4 Foundations. I also have some exclusive information shared with LT Gaming about what is coming in the mods version for X4 9.00, so stay tuned for that later in the video. The update is expected in roughly 1 to 2 months, although this is a volunteer project, so we're certainly not going to hold the developers to that. Then later in the video, I'm going to compare Interworlds with some of the other amazing Star Wars mods, and I want your suggestions in the comments box below. Of course, this isn't a complete roundup of mods, just the ones that I'm currently really enjoying. And if you want to make this video make the jump to hyperspace, hit the like button. It really helps the channel and we appreciate it. So guys, the greatest strength of Star Wars Interworlds is that it does not merely place a collection of recognizable ships inside X4. The ship's interiors, weapons, music and sound effects create an incredible atmosphere, and I know you guys love and always get behind this project, especially when we make a video on it. But it's the simulation operating beneath everything that makes the illusion last beyond those first few hours of play. This mod succeeds because it rebuilds almost every part of X4 around Star Wars, including its factions, map, economy, ships and equipment. Last time we had an amazing comment section on all the various lore that you guys are into, and I've currently just finished reading the expanded universe MedStar 2 book and MedStar 1, a really interesting series. It's like MASH, the TV series, but in the Star Wars universe. So what quirky elements of Star Wars lore are you into? Let me know your fantasies below. And because of Zero Company, I've jumped into an actual canon series. I'm trying Thrawn Ascendancy about the Chiss, and I'm actually really enjoying it, so I'm giving canon a little bit of a chance here. Just the mainline Disney sequel movies never happened in my imagination. Anyway, that's enough of me ranting about lore. Let's get back to Star Wars Interworlds. You can essentially begin inside a small fighter or transport, trying to earn enough money to survive before gradually moving into larger vessels, trading operations, stations, and eventually entire fleets. What other Star Wars gaming experience lets you do this? You can become a bounty hunter, industrialist, mercenary, military commander, or the leader of your own galactic power, which is really my ambition. That sense of progression is incredibly important because Star Wars has always been built around scale, and Interworlds allows you to experience that journey from an anonymous pilot to someone capable of influencing the entire galaxy. The wider universe also continues without waiting for you. Factions trade resources, construct ships, lose stations, and become involved in conflicts that can reshape the surrounding sectors. This is a living sandbox, and it's something as the player we've always wanted from a Star Wars project. You can arrive halfway through a battle you didn't start, discover the aftermath of an attack, or watch two enormous fleets collide because of events taking place within the simulation. These unscripted moments make every campaign feel personal, without forcing you to become the chosen hero of another predetermined cinematic story. The mixture of eras and expanded universe material also works surprisingly well. Hundreds of ships and many factions and ideas from across Star Wars are brought together inside a setting where the Empire has fractured. The New Republic remains vulnerable, and criminal or commercial powers are attempting to exploit that instability. The sheer amount of content behind the transformation is also remarkable. Interworlds introduces hundreds of ships across every size class, ranging from X-Wings, Y-Wings and TIE Interceptors, to Corellian corvettes, Venators, Mon Calamari cruisers, Star Destroyers, and even enormous vessels such as the Executor. Sitting in the cockpit of an X-Wing, walking around the Millennium Falcon, or sitting on the bridge of a Star Destroyer is absolutely incredible, and I can't stress that enough. Just a quick interlude to say subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 100k and we really need you to get there. We are a proper PC gaming channel. You're going to find all the best games here, including space, war games, RTS and everything you can think of. We even do some amazing mod spotlights. So if you have amazing taste in games, hit the subscribe button. Both me and Tom really appreciate you. Alright, let's do the LT gaming thing and look a little bit more through a critical lens at this mod. This does look and sound like the Star Wars game of your dreams, but underneath the Star Destroyers, X-Wings and John Williams inspired spectacle, it is still X4, and X4 sometimes makes you work extremely hard for the fantasy. We have a huge amount of X4 nutters in our Discord, which you should join, but some people do bounce off this game. I think you need to be a certain type of special to really get this game. However, if you are into it, you're my type of immersion junkie. The learning curve here remains substantial. The interface, map, trading systems, fleet commands and station management can definitely be intimidating, especially if you're just a Star Wars fan purchasing X4 specifically for this mod. Now, props to X4, they have much better tutorials these days and there's a lot of stuff available online, so I think you can get there. But I definitely would advise new players to complete those original tutorials before attempting to build their first galactic empire. Then, the larger your operations become, the more likely you are to encounter the less glamorous side of the simulation. Especially in 8.00, the performance just isn't quite as good as what it is in the Empire update. Because it's a mod, some assets and factions also feel more developed than others. And the underlying issues of X4 can't really be fixed here. The crews are never going to look like Star Wars characters, so you really are here for the ships mainly. It does slightly weaken the Star Wars illusion. The biggest immediate problem is of course compatibility, because the current public version still requires players to roll X4 back to version 8.00. I don't really see this as a big issue, and I roll between different versions of X4 all the time, but I do have great internet. It's definitely an inconvenience, but thankfully what is coming next appears to be far more ambitious than a basic compatibility patch. According to information shared directly with LT Gaming by the developer, more than 500 assets have been manually reassembled and restructured to bring them closer to modern development best practices. Every asset in the mod is also receiving new levels of detail, revised lighting, and further performance-focused optimization. This is music to my ears. Textures are being updated with new bitmaps and improved compression, which should help remove the scanline distortion found on some ships, while also reducing the performance impact of those enormous Star Wars models. The ships themselves are receiving plenty of additional detail as well, with logos, identification codes, and force fields being added wherever appropriate. More than a dozen vessels are also planned to receive completely new, fully walkable hangars, potentially making some of the mod's largest ships feel even more like places you can actually inhabit rather than models you simply command from the outside. New levels of detail like this could be particularly important during major fleet engagements, where the game needs to display large numbers of fighters, capital ships, weapons, and effects simultaneously. But for me, the performance update will be huge, because that's where sometimes this game and mod can be dragged down. The mod developers are rebuilding, optimizing, and expanding a huge part of the mod beneath the surface, and that could make the new version one of the greatest things of all time. Like I said, the approximate target is 1 to 2 months from now, but we will be on it when it's available. Now, Interworlds is not the only project demonstrating how far Star Wars modding has progressed, so let's cover a few of them here. You might want to add them to a wishlist or download them later. Galactic Contention transforms Squad into a large-scale Clone Wars multiplayer experience, placing you directly into enormous combined arms battles as clone troopers, battle droids, and other recognizable units. Infantry, vehicles, aircraft, squad communication, and coordinated objectives capture the feeling of being one soldier inside a much larger war, which is something Interworlds does not attempt. However, Galactic Contention is built around organised multiplayer warfare rather than personal progression or empire building. So for me, it delivers the frontline Star Wars fantasy, while Interworlds gives you the wider galaxy operating behind it. Worth a download if you don't mind waiting in multiplayer queues. I had some fun with it. Star Wars Genesis attempts to rebuild Starfield. I think we'd all want to rebuild that at some stage, as an open world Star Wars role-playing experience. It combines characters, locations, weapons, armor, and ships from a much wider collection of mods into one package. It is strongest when you want to personally explore the galaxy from the ground, walk through settlements, complete quests, and experience Star Wars through a more traditional first-person RPG structure. Interworlds definitely gives you the wider context, while this gives you a more personal Star Wars experience. An incredible mod, but you're going to need a pretty big hard drive for this one. It's quite insane, actually. The X-Wing Alliance upgrade project is probably the closest comparison in terms of craftsmanship and long-term ambition, even though its gameplay is far more focused. The project has spent years replacing the original 1999 models with highly detailed ships, improved textures, modern effects, and modern engine enhancements. Interworlds gives you a living economy and the freedom to create your own campaign, whereas X-Wing Alliance Upgrade provides carefully designed missions and some of the best traditional Star Wars space combat. I like to call this one the underdog of Star Wars mods because it's so bloody good, but it's just a tad more hardcore. Star Wars Empire at War has developed an entire galaxy of enormous conversion mods, including Thrawn's Revenge, Fall of the Republic, Revan's Revenge, Awakening the Rebellion, and Empire at War Remake. They're all absolutely bloody belting, to be honest. I believe one of the creators has a YouTube channel called Corey Loses. I mean, you should definitely go check that out. The guy covers all of these mods on a regular basis, and you can really deep dive it there. Though we also did a mod video on this ourselves, which proved really popular back in the day, so I might repeat that at some stage. So finally, I want to say that Star Wars Interworlds is not perfect, but for me, it is kinda, to be honest. It attempts something official Star Wars games almost never give us. It creates a living galaxy, places us inside it, and allows us to decide whether whether we become a pilot, trader, bounty hunter, commander, or galactic ruler. Absolutely incredible stuff. So get a copy of X4, get ready for the 9.00 update, and lock yourselves in. Let me know in the comments which Star Wars mod is your favourite and whether you are planning to return when Interworlds arrives at X4 9.00, or if you just never left like me. I've been Luke from LT Gaming, and I'll see you out there amongst the stars. May the Force be with you.